cannot trust PF. I want to pay for these 2 airports. I will pay as CC, and then the government of Zambia must owe me. Question, and I need to give a very honest answer. The reason being that I still have followers, and including my followers, some of them, they are thinking, what happened to our president? But I want you to do a kind of try and go back. Look at CC, UPPZ president, and his type of politics. My politics are not based on personality attacks. And I think this is where we need to draw the boundaries. I was under PF. I never attacked President Edgar Chagwa, to the point that some people in UPND, they thought I was a surrogate of PF. The reason was because my approach to politics is don't attack the personalities, attack the policies. I attacked the policies of the Patriotic Front government, but I never attacked the president, because that's an office. He is running an office, and you don't need to go after him and begin to say nasty things. You will never come across an insult to the president, whether it was ECL or President Hakainde Hichilema. That I don't do. This is how I do my politics. Now, many people are asking, but what is it that changed? What happened? Sometimes we need to call a spade a spade. We had over 25 people that paid for the presidential race. I was one of them. In fact, I was the first policies than the UPND. So that was the confidence that this is what made me to say, let me go ahead. And if you have followed the UPND and their run of these 5 years, only one political party that has managed to compete in almost all the by-elections with the ruling party, and that's UPPZ. That's my commitment. Now you can see that the graph was going up, meaning that we were penetrating into the strongholds of the UPND. Why? We have a better rural developmental agenda. In fact, on this one, I'm live on TV. I can ask any political party president who is among the 16 or is it 14 to challenge me. They have never heard their manifestos. I have a manifesto, and I've been consistent on that for the past 10 years. It's what we call rural developmental agenda, and the message has gone into rural Zambia. So I felt, look, if the UPND are not doing what UPPZ is doing, then let me stand against them in the elections, so that in case we win, we will advance this agenda. So that was the point of, getting into the elections. Now, let's go back to because everybody talks about, how I came out on the day of nominations.
Yes, you pointed at the...
That shows you that was a politically motivated agenda. Now, I can give you the history. It started under PF. PF felt that the only thing, the only weapon they could use was against my land business. So all those things are coming from the land business. They went to court, they lost the case. So my question comes in, how come the ECZ chairperson receives a letter and keeps it without calling me as a stakeholder, say, Mr. Chanda, there is this letter? Because to be honest with you, that matter is in court. You cannot stop me from contesting elections over a matter that is in court. If that was true, if it is like that, then even some presidents I know now shouldn't have been taken, because they've got matters that are in court. Why did the ECZ ignore that and then apply it on me? That's why I became angry. So my anger was because I know the law. And I felt, look, this is just manipulation. And this is why I acted the way I acted.
If you call it manipulation,
during this period, they were not going to be there because it would be UPND alone. But I was there. Why? To promote democracy. This is why I felt that the behavior to me was not right. But later, after my outburst, and remember, I have followers. How would you think the followers would take it? I just accept, no, it's okay. They would think, there must be something wrong. So my reaction was genuine on that day. My reaction had nothing to do with maybe something was staged. I brought out what was in my heart. But being who I am, when I went back, I follow the scriptures. And me, what I believe is that if God wants you to get something, he makes a way. He knows how to do it. And, of course, I had mentioned names there, out of anger and out of frustration. Yes, whatever I mentioned it was what it was. But it wasn't exactly it was the anger inside me. But I had to reflect over that. This is why the following day, I tendered an apology to the ECZ chairperson. She's a mother to me. She's a leader. I shouldn't have treated her like that. It was uncalled for. That's why I apologized. And when I apologized, of course, some people may not take it. Why should this man apologize? There's something that I want Zambians to learn on politics. We don't use politics as in the campaigns where a presidential candidate pays a youngsters to do a song to insult the president. Why? That's not politics. We are destroying our own culture. And this is what I'm trying to, yes, it could be a negative thing that happened to me, but I want to show Zambians the maturity that we need to have in politics. I had to apologize. And after my apology, I had to think of, okay, I have votes, and make no mistake. I don't think even these ones who are making noise, I don't think they've got as much support as I have. I have support in this country. And this was going to change the face of this election. If I stood, I can assure you, if I was part of the people on the ballot, there was nobody in this country that was going to win in the first round. Mark my words. No one. All of us were going to split the votes. This is the truth of the matter. So at the end of the day, I had to think against UPND. They've done some things quite okay. We fought against PF. And so now, you see, this is where people must understand. Because a lot of them were thinking, no, why don't you jump to PF? I can never do that. It's impossible. And I've got reasons. We stood against PF, and good enough, President Hakainde Hichilema and myself and 13 other contestants, we had one message against PF. We don't want Kadarism. And that message still stands. We don't want corruption. The message still stands. We don't want reckless. Before I can agree with you, my heart must agree. I don't just move because, this one is inviting me. I don't do that. So now, when I looked at the presidential candidates, I looked at His Excellency, the President, Dr. Hakainde Hichilema. I looked at the period he had, the 5 years. It was not an easy period. It was a period that it takes somebody to be strong to go through as president. And he has managed. Yes, there may be some negativities here and there. It's normal. Especially that he is a president for the first time. Now, here we are. We have a political party. They went for the first term and second term. And then the other term. Well, so we had that period. So, and if you look at the damage they did to the economy, it would be immoral for me to go and rubber stamp PF. I cannot do that. Even if I'm insulted, I'm fine with the insults because there are certain things that were done which have made the work very difficult for UPND. UPND had no money. They couldn't even access credit. You know why? It was messed up by PF. So President Hakainde Hichilema, through his, business and of course economics studies, okay, there's a way we can go throughout. This is why they've spent all this time trying to make this debt restructuring. And I said, this man, he has been solving a problem that these guys left. So he is the one that needs to be supported, because these ones, the problem they left, they can never solve it. If you give them another chance, they will bring another problem. So we don't want a recycling of problems. This is why I can tell you now, anybody with roots from PF on the ballot, they don't deserve a vote as president. Not one. As long as you are from PF, President insulted them. And where do you get the courage to insult someone who is solving your problem? So that shows you that the kind of politics they are practicing is politics of hate. This is why you go on social media, all they are talking about is spreading hatred. And I have proved to the country, you can be a politician and overcome that bitterness. I overcame it when I was told you can't stand, and I went to the same organization, because whether you like it or not, the president appoints the ECZ chairperson. The president is in charge. So normally, a normal Zambian wouldn't have gone to UPND. He would have teamed up and say, yes, we will teach them a lesson. There is no lesson that UPND needs, because PF taught them a lesson that of borrowing money and they must pay. So what else should we teach them? So I have shown the Zambians, you can be a presidential candidate and you don't have hatred. And that has an advantage. If I become president, and I'll be president in this country, make no mistake about it. One day, I'll be the head of state. I cannot say, yes, where does the ECZ chairperson stay? Let's go for her. We bring the file. This thing you disqualified me. I cannot do that. It's not in my nature. But look at our friends. They are already planning, some of them, in their meetings. When we win the elections, the first thing we need to do, we must remove HH from his community house because he has used money to advance everything. And we must do this. That's not a manifesto. Show the Zambians what you can do. And no, what the enemy meant for evil turns out to be good. So for me, it's okay. And maybe finally, before I allow you to continue, because you asked a very good, important question. How could you find yourself in the hands of the person you accused to have done that? And the answer is very easy and very straightforward. Moses was born at a time when Pharaoh was killing baby boys. That's when he was born. But do you know how God works? The same Moses that was supposed to be killed by the king, God made it in such a way that that boy, he went into the house of the king. It was the king now who had decided to kill all the baby boys. He took care of Moses. He educated Moses. He trained Moses, and Moses became a leader of God's people from the same house. So what we are saying here is that we need to understand why certain things happen. And I'm at peace, and I can assure you, HH 2026, 13th of August, he's getting the second term, and nobody's going to stop him. We will campaign for him, because at the moment, he is the only person we can trust. These other ones, what are we going to trust them for? It's because their money is finished. They want to come and restock again. But here is somebody. If he can tell us that free education now, do you know how costly free education is? But this man says free education. Then tell me, are you telling me that it's siphoning money? It's not there because the money is being channeled to education. I think this is a man we must give another term, because the last term he was busy dealing with PF problems. Now let him deal with our problems, and Zambia will be a better country under President Hakainde Hichilema. AI and Ndola Airport. So you are telling me that government will give me money? For me, In fact, I don't think even if I was going to be involved in work, whatever they will give me, I don't, because what I have is more.
What do you have?
I have, and you, they also die. And in fact, when they have died, their children will also have enough. So what are you telling me? There's no transaction. It is the love for this country. I love this country. And I want this country to live a better life. I want rural Zambia to celebrate. And rural Zambia, they will celebrate this time because they will see a different Hakainde Hichilema. This is why I want to be close to him, to influence him and say, Your Excellency, this is what we need to do. We need to deliver. Let's make rural Zambia, let the citizens in rural Zambia also feel that they are part of this country. So the issue of transaction, now let me try and clarify it. Of course, government can clarify on that. Now tell me, even if somebody didn't go to school, do you think President Hakainde Hichilema, knowing the kind of man we have as president, do you think he will bring close to himself a man that is bankrupt? He will never do that. That is $1 million question. So that should answer your questions. There's no way government would want to associate with a person that is what the country is. He understands. He knows me better than what everybody says.
What then do you bring to this alliance?
I've not managed. I've not been allowed to stand.
Have you been promised a seat at the table?
No, I wanted to stand as president because there are things that need to be corrected. I'm told I'm not qualified. I can't fight that because I know that the same ECZ chairperson, should God keep her well, she will still be the ECZ, and she is going to accept my nomination in 2031. Mark my words. The issue of bankruptcy will not even surface when it comes to 2031. So 2031, I'm standing as president. So my aligning, saying UPND, let me help them. I don't want to sit and be waiting for 2031. This is the problem with our politicians. They have ideas, and those ideas, they keep them that no, until when I become president. So what I want to do, we will work closely with the UPND government. We will share our notes. I'll give you a good example. During this period, I've already spoken to the president. We must pay headmen. That's the idea of UPPZ. And I've promised the headmen that if I become president, you must be paid. And there are reasons why you must pay a headman. A headman performs judicial duties in the village. When there is a case, it is the headmen and their committee that bring people together and they, charge them, tell them, don't do this. So that's the court. They are doing the works of the judges. Apart from that, the headmen and headwomen, they do civic duties. What does a councillor do in a village? But in terms of work, it is the headmen. But look at it. The government pays the councillor, and the government doesn't pay the headman. And I'm saying, no, that one, it shouldn't continue. We need to start paying the councillors. And councillors, I have already taken the matter to the president.
You mean the headman?
The headman, yeah, the headman. Headman, don't worry. That thing I promised you, I've taken it to the head of state. And this is why I felt I need to join someone that has a listening heart, has a listening ear. And President Hakainde Hichilema, for those of you that view him as somebody who doesn't listen, he does listen. And headmen, this period that is coming, you will be getting paid. And this is something that we are trying to ensure that government, we hold government as it's not about the amount. Let us appreciate where work is done. You can't pay a councillor and leave out a headman. That is not going to. You need to understand one thing. I was, and I'm still the president of UPPZ. Have never taught my followers to be enemies of the government, but to be enemies of policies that are retrogressive. If you look at UPPZ members, you will never hear them insult the president, because that's the kind of teaching I've showed them. I did not withdraw to stand as president. It is on record. I was disqualified by ECZ for their own reasons. Of course, they had to use a reason that was on their table, which is fine. So my people know they were heartbroken. But now I had to think as a leader. This is why, leadership is not for people who are with hearts that can faint. For the fainted, no, you need to have a strong heart, a heart that you should be able to say, people, this is what we are going to do. We have councillors who have stood on UPPZ. We have MPs that have stood. And I'm still funding them. I'm the one funding them. Even today, I sent money to them. All of them, the whole country. Money is distributed to them to campaign. So what we are saying is the presidential vote for UPPZ, people that should have voted for me as president, that vote will be channeled to President Hakainde Hichilema. And I'll move in the whole country. I'll still move to all my people. And they know, they follow my instructions. Council chairperson. And we have councillors from UPND, and we know that we have an alliance. That's an advantage. Now remember, in some of these places, there's hostility against the UPND. I mean, you can't run away from that. There are places like that. But those are some of the places in Kasama. After delimitation, all the polling stations in that constituency, I beat UPND. All the polling stations. So the chances of a UPPZ member of parliament scooping that seat are over 90%. But at the end of the day, we are not fighting UPND.
Are you not going to split the vote?
But let's try to reason here. You borrowed money with no intention of taking it back. You started using that money, paying subsidies with borrowed money that you want another person to pay. And then tomorrow, then you come and say, we were a better government. From which angle? Because you never paid. The money you were given, you never paid. But here is someone that has come and he is putting policies, making Zambians to face the reality of life, but at the same time, trying to see how to cushion. Because the first term, I can assure you, it was very problematic for President Hakainde Hichilema. Things will not be the same in the second term. Because then the policies, the things we have put into place, that have been put into place, will begin to materialize. But those who used money from Eurobonds and you contracted debts and used it to show that they are working. I mean, let's face facts. Go to KKI. $360 million was borrowed from China. Not one kwacha has been paid. So where do these people get the courage? Then they'll be saying, Sontepo wa bomba at the airport is for the Chinese. Go to Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe Airport. Money borrowed from China. We've not paid, not even half a way to that money. Then somebody will be telling you, can you see what PF did? No. Let's change the narrative. It's not PF. Can you see what the Chinese did? And now, UPND now is tasked to pay for the same airports. Who has built the airport? The one who borrowed or the one who is going to pay? And this is why I really want to do something. And I'm going to shock this nation. I want to pay for these two airports. I will pay as CC, and then the government of Zambia must owe me. Then we will know that, okay, then we are getting in a better direction. There was no need for the government to borrow, to go and borrow $360 million. There was no need. Because in 2017, we have on record, one mining company in Lufwanyama brought out 70,000 kgs of emeralds. 2017. Under President Hichilema, may he so rest in peace. That money that was raised by that company from the 70,000 kgs of emerald is equivalent to 26 years of Zambia's national budget. Now tell me, we did this. That is why we cannot trust PF. As long as you are from PF, you are children of that problem. You will still come with that leprosy to destroy this country, and we will not allow PF to get to State House. They must find something else to do. I think there are a lot of farms they got. So let them just go and do something, do farming, so that they leave this work to those who care for the Zambians. You can't be proud of doing something and the money is borrowed. No, so all I'm saying here is that to explain to the people that President Hakainde Hichilema is on the right track, we are going to start from the debt. Why was fertilizer cheap? They were just getting money. They will go and borrow this money, they will make it cheap. But the thing is not cheap. And now people got used. Make hard, and you will see for the first time, we might even have debt forgiveness because of the efforts that we will put in to be able to pay some of these debts. They must tell us the status quo of ZESCO. They must tell us how much China pumped in there. How much? This is why you find that most of these parastatals, ZNBC, China entered. ZESCO, China entered. So, when these companies entered there, money was brought in. The question comes in, money that was put into ZESCO, is it all the money that was put in there? If all the money that was borrowed to be put into ZESCO was put there, were we going to be having load shedding? So, we have a situation where the UPND come into power, and then people experience load shedding. Yes, we can say, no, they are not doing a ABCD. But remember, we also had some natural disasters. But there are certain areas where you find contracts. How do you just cancel them? It's a new government. This is why we need to give them time. And I believe with what the president has come up now with, through his visionary leadership, we're going to have enough electricity. And one of the things that I am bringing to the table of the UPND, we have not surveyed how we can use water in our lakes to generate electricity. Go to America, go to Michigan. They use a lake to generate electricity. Look at the Luapula province. All that water. How do we just leave water for witchcraft? Because now if you are on that, you find that it is witches who are benefiting from those lake waters. We want to use that water and generate power so that we can have enough power. So we are coming to the table, not for positions. No, we are coming to the table to solve the problems this country has had. Very, very few politicians do that. I mean, you can have a lot of alliance members, but the point here is that what do you bring to the table? And this is what we want. And we are going to lead by example as an alliance partner. And I believe as we support President Hakainde Hichilema, we will make his work easier so that Zambia becomes a better country.
I'd love you to look into this camera, President, and
responsibility which I will take. Now, I'm not even going to start with the women in Kanyama. I want to talk to our mothers in rural Zambia. Most of you mothers in rural Zambia, we have sat down with you and you have brought your complaints. Number one, you have told me that, Mr. Chanda, the problem that we have is that governments don't care about us. There is no clean water. Health facilities are far. And most of the times, even the health facilities that are there, there's no dignity. You find a woman that is giving birth is in the same room with another man, with a man. We are saying that problem has been considered. The president, he released $40 million. 40 million kwacha as CDF. We want to ensure that all constituencies, and now there's something good that the president has done. This delimitation, the president, through his leaders, they have divided certain constituencies. And though that division, yes, it was controversial, but at the end of the day, I want you to look at this. The 40 million, each of those constituencies will have 40 million. And those facilities you have been crying for. This is why I've joined the alliance, so that we will push to have enough medical facilities, health facilities, so that our women in rural Zambia, they also live a dignified life. We have our mothers in the compounds. Many of you are struggling. I was born in Kanyama. I lost my father at the age of 6 years, and I was kept by my mother. Of course, later, we had a new family. But I know the struggles that our mothers are going through. Some of these mothers, they are involved in selling things. They leave the children in the compounds and they come back late at night because they are in town. And this is where families are broken. And we are saying there is hope. Hope is coming. We want to ensure that there will be empowerment in those compounds, so that we look at how can we best help in such situations. And the only person that can help is somebody who has already started doing something, and that is President Hakainde Hichilema. If you bring somebody else, they will even cancel the CDF because they've been against the CDF. So they will come and tell you that, no, we don't want 40 million, it is 1.6 million. That will be 100 steps backwards. Let us see how President Hakainde Hichilema moves on with his vision, of course, being helped by those that mean well. Look at you headmen. We are saying hope is not yet lost. Let's give President Hakainde Hichilema another 5 years. And for the students, I've got good news for you. We have suggested to our partner, UPND, and say, look, let us try to look at students who are in private institutions. University of Zambia, Great East Road campus, and of course, the Copperbelt University. When you look at the time they were built, those of you who may not be aware, CBU was not built as a university. It was Zambia Institute of Technology, and then converted to CBU. Look at the Great East Road campus. By the time it was built, see how much it was supposed to accommodate. But today, it cannot accommodate many students. And this is why many of you have found yourselves in private institutions. Not because you are privileged, because you have no choice. And this has made a lot of especially civil servants, to be living in debt because they need to borrow money to pay for these expensive fees. We are saying to our alliance partner, UPND, through the able leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, let us consider a subsidy for every student in private institutions, so that when we give them something, their parents can add. Because the problem why they are in private institutions, it's not their making, it is a government problem. And so you can see that the president is ready, is willing to look at that, so that our students, they can be able to finish their studies. And we are working on how we can ensure that we reduce the number of unemployed graduates. Industries are coming. During these 5 years that are ahead, there are already plans to ensure that we begin to convert our raw materials into finished products, and that will require workmanship. And so jobs are coming, not only in civil service or in the, but we are talking about jobs in every sector of the society. So there are plans, and you can trust some of us that we will make sure that we keep monitoring and keep pushing for this agenda. So this is the reason why we are saying, let's give him, President Hakainde Hichilema, another 5 years. Let him finish up what he has started. 2031, he will finish his 2 terms. If you want another president, of course there will be need for somebody to take over. Let's work for 2031. For now, we have already started. Let's finish what has been started. And this is why some of us have put our weight behind the president so that we can achieve this goal.
All right. President Charles.
It will not take too long, and money will be given to you so that you can plan for the coming harvest.